5 goals. We need more games like this, man. It was awesome. It was awesome. And that's why I try to tune into every single game, because at the African Cup of Nations, you never know what to expect. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Dominic Rich, and I'm here to continue my coverage of the 32nd edition of the African Cup of Nations. In today's video, I'll be talking about the fixture from Group B between the debutants Madagascar and Burundi, and also 2 fixtures from Group C, the one between heavyweights Algeria and Senegal, and the East African derby between Kenya and Tanzania. That was one hell of a game. So let's start with the Group B fixture between the debutants Burundi and Madagascar. In round 1, Burundi was defeated by Nigeria in a match which ended 1-0 in favor of the Super Eagles. As for Madagascar, they picked up an impressive 2-2 draw versus Guinea. My prediction for this match was a 2-1 win for Madagascar, but it ended in a 1-0 win for the Barriers. After a slow start to the game in the first 15 minutes, the tempo picked up and both teams began to create quite a few chances without any significant end product. It was a very open game, but I think Madagascar were looking the most spirited of the 2 teams. Burundi did enjoy a healthy spell of possession at the back end of the first half, but they weren't able to make use of that little control they had in the game. At the halftime break, the game was still scoreless, and I think that Burundi were very lucky not to go behind. Both teams made early substitutions, but it was a taking off of Carolus that was quite confusing. Madagascar was doing very well in the first half, and Carolus was one of the most dangerous players. And for them to take him off that early, it was kinda perplexing to me, but it proved to be the right move in the end. Burundi had a very good start to the second half when they created 2 big chances, one which was put wide and the other that forced a very good save out of the Madagascar goalkeeper. And just as I began to notice how improved Burundi were from the first half, against the run of play, Madagascar scored. It was a free kick just outside the box, and up stepped Marco Eli Maharicha to bend it over the wall past the goalkeeper to put Madagascar in the lead. They pulled out the Barrier celebration because that proved to be the winning goal in the end. Towards the end of the game, Madagascar did get another very good free kick that Marco Eli Maharicha took and forced a big save out of the Burundi goalkeeper. Madagascar had a nice flourish at the end of the game as they stamped their authority over Burundi. The game ended 1-0, and that 3 points took Madagascar up to 4 points, second in the group behind Nigeria. As for stats in the game, Madagascar had 11 shots at goal with 5 on target, 47% of the possession, 342 passes with a 73% pass accuracy. They committed 17 fouls and picked up 1 yellow. For Burundi, they had 13 shots at goal, 2 on target, 53% of the possession, 365 passes, 75% pass accuracy, 24 fouls, and 1 yellow. It was quite an even contest, but Madagascar came up with the goods and they got the 3 points. For Madagascar, their third and final group fixture will be on Sunday, June the 30th when they face Nigeria. As for Burundi, they are in a must-win situation when they face Guinea on that exact same day. Guinea also needs to win that fixture. And by the way, guys, I did predict Madagascar to get out of this group, and a lot of people, they call me crazy. Also, I forgot to mention that this was Madagascar's first ever African Cup of Nations win, so congratulations to the Barriers, man. They have looked good so far at the tournament. Could they write an underdog story? We will just have to wait and see. In the other second round Group B fixture, Nigeria went on to defeat Guinea 1-0. So after 2 rounds, Nigeria lead the group on 6 points. They have already booked a place in the round of 16. Madagascar second, 4 points. Guinea third, 1 point. And at the bottom, Burundi. So now let's move on to the Group C fixtures between Senegal and Algeria, and the East African derby between Tanzania and Kenya. Algeria won, Senegal 0. That was the result of the marquee matchup between these 2 African giants. For this game, I did predict a high-scoring 3-2 thriller in favor of Senegal, but it was a letdown. It ended in just 1 goal scored. But we did get a 3-2 game. We did, but I'll get to that game a little later. In the build-up to this game, when the Algerian coach Jamel Belmadi was asked during the press conference what his team will be for the fixture versus Senegal, he proceeded to name out a Senegal 11. And I was saying to myself, this guy really knows his opponent very well. He took the time to learn all the names of all the Senegalese players. And I was like, wow, impressive. And at that point, I knew Algeria was going to win that game. They did their homework. Both Senegal and Algeria picked up 2-0 wins in their opening fixtures versus Tanzania and Kenya respectively. Whoever won the game will seal a berth in the round of 16, and Algeria went on to do so. Senegal also welcomed the return of their star player Sadio Mane, who was suspended for the first game for yellow card accumulation. Algeria came into this fixture unbeaten versus Senegal in African Cup of Nations matches. It was a very hot, sweltering day. Over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, over 40 degrees Celsius, and the two African giants were ready for battle. Last week in an interview, Sadio Mane even said that he would swap the Champions League for the African Cup of Nations trophy. That's how bad Senegal wants this. Remember, they have never won the African Cup of Nations, and could this be their year? Could this be their year? But after that loss versus Algeria, one may think that it just might not. But it's still early times. For the first 30 minutes of the game, it was quite open, very physical. Both teams created chances, but none of them could take them. Both teams were wasteful. It was a very physical contest from the start. As the game got closer to the halftime break, it began to get more and more cagey, more and more physical, more in-your-face confrontational type of football. It was some ugly stuff, to be completely honest. Algeria never allowed Senegal to settle. It was still 0-0 at the end of the first half, but Algeria had the momentum going into the second. Coming back for the second half, Algeria began to tease. Feghouli had a really nice chance, but he put his shot wide, but then they continued to attack, and it was one down on the right-hand side. Feghouli with a cutback passed it over to Belali, who was open, and he just curled it in the back of the net to open the scoring for Algeria. Senegal were on the hunt for an equalizer, but it was very hard to come by. At that point in the game, Algeria were dealing with Senegal's threats really well. Mane was being unsettled by the Algerian defenders. He couldn't really work his magic and express himself like the way he wanted to. Keita Balde was played out the game. He was substituted off. Senegal was struggling in their final third of the field. Mahrez had a really nice opportunity to score, but he put his shot wide, and down the other end, Sadio Mane was denied a penalty when he was taken down by two defenders. If you ask me, I think that should have been a penalty. If VAR was being implemented in the group phase, that would have been a penalty. So Senegal will feel very hard done by that decision. Towards the back end of the game, Senegal was still fighting for that equalizer. They almost got it via a very good shot by Youssouf Sabaly, but Mboli came up with the goods, and late in the game, Boundidja almost put it in the back of his own net from a Senegal free kick. The game ended in a 1-0 win for Algeria, and they booked themselves a place in the round of 16. I think Senegal were bullied in this game. They weren't allowed to express themselves fully at all. Every time they got the ball, Algeria closed them down and forced them to give it away. They were never made to settle. They weren't allowed to express themselves, and we know these Senegalese players are very expressive. As for stats in the game, Senegal had 12 shots at goal, 2 on target, 55% of the possession, 278 passes with a 77% pass accuracy. They committed 19 fouls and picked up 2 yellows. As for Algeria, they had 8 shots at goal, 2 on target, 45% of the possession, 239 passes, 72% pass accuracy, but the alarming stat is the 34 fouls which they committed, picking up only 2 yellows. They were rough on the Senegalese players. They were really physical. As for Senegal, they will play their final group fixture against Kenya on Monday, July the 1st, and they have to win. They need to pick up a win or a draw, nothing less, or they would have to depend on the other results to qualify as one of the best third place teams. As for Algeria, they will face a very talented Tanzanian team on the exact same date. Algeria already in the round of 16, they might rotate their team, and who knows, Tanzania might just pick up a win, but it's left to be seen. So Aliou Cisse and his boys will have to come better in their final fixture versus Kenya. It's not going to be an easy one at all because we have already seen what Kenya is capable of doing. They weren't too bad in their first game versus Algeria despite losing, and against Tanzania, they came up with the goods, which segues nicely into the next fixture. Kenya 3, Tanzania 2. And to be completely honest, that was the best game of the African Cup of Nations so far. It was filled with entertainment. It was filled with goals. Do you feel that way? If you saw it, let me know in the comment section down below because that was a hell of a game. As for the Kenya versus Tanzania fixture, man, that game was one of the most exciting games I've seen so far at the tournament. Matter of fact, maybe all 3 tournaments I'm covering combined, the Copa America and the CONCACAF Gold Cup. That game was awesome. And I know a lot of people probably did not tune into that because it's Kenya and Tanzania playing, but I wanted to see what these 2 teams are capable of. And they're talented. They're talented. They surprised me. This was the first ever meeting between Kenya and Tanzania at the African Cup of Nations, and they played each other in an Eastern African derby, and it was a good one. It was a really high-octane start to the game. Both teams were out the blocks as fast as Usain Bolt, and Tanzania picked up the first goal in the 6th minute. It was attack on the left. It was Mbwana Samata running through the defense, getting a shot off. It was parried into the path of Msuva, who put it in for the first goal of the game. And he went on to celebrate with some really nice acrobatics. Those were some of the cleanest acrobatics I've seen across the 3 tournaments. They were really good. But it's fair to say that was some poor defending from Kenya in the early stages of the game. Kenya had a chance in the 14th minute, but it was hit straight to the goalkeeper. It was end-to-end stuff at that time of the game. You couldn't take your eyes off the television screen. It was that good. Moments after, Kenya had another brilliant chance to score. It was a corner coming in, it hit the glove of the goalkeeper, went on to the post, came back out for the attacker who headed it back onto the post. That was a close one. I was saying to myself, it's only a matter of time before Kenya equalizes. After a brief spell of possession by Kenya, it was now Tanzania's time to dazzle once again. They all looked really sharp on the ball and they were moving the ball very well. And around the 35th minute mark, they had begun to pile on the pressure on the Kenyan defenders. The Kenyan coach did make an early substitution in the game, and when you really look back at it, it may prove to be a genius move. The player wasn't happy to be coming off around a half-an-hour mark, but in the end his team came out winners, right? So sometimes you just have to trust your coach. Kenya's equalizer came in the 39th minute from a set play when a devilish ball was delivered into the box. The goalkeeper didn't deal with it properly. It fell on the head of the defender, bounced up nicely to Olunga, who did a bicycle kick to put it in the back of the net. It was 1-1. But the Kenyan celebration was short-lived. Down the other end, Mbwana Samata was dazzling once again. It was a really nice attack down the left. He cut in, drew 2 defenders to him. The goalkeeper came out, the ball deflected off the defender and fell nicely in his path again. He ran around and he got it through a sea of bodies to put it in the back of the net to put Tanzania back in the lead. And at that point I was saying like, wow man, what a game we're having here. Tanzania are looking good. They would deserve the win if they go on to do so. But the half ended with Tanzania having a 2-1 advantage. It was a great first half. It was just end-to-end stuff filled with a lot of chances and a lot of goals. Both teams were looking good, to be completely honest. Around the 60th minute mark, Kenya had begun to play themselves back in the game. After a few chances created but not able to beat the goalkeeper, their moment came again. It was a wicked delivery from Masika and Omolo got on the end of it to equalize for Kenya. And at that point I was saying, oh my goodness, who's gonna win this game now? Who is gonna win this game? I did predict a draw for the game though. I did predict a draw. A 1-1 draw to be exact. And I was saying maybe my predictions are going to come true because we are having a really good game, a very even contest, and it's 2-2. After Kenya equalized, it was still end-to-end stuff. Both teams continued to carve out chances for themselves. But ultimately, it would be Kenya who would taste victory first at the 32nd edition of the African Cup of Nations, when Ulungu got in behind once again and hit a very scrappy shot with his left foot to beat the Tanzanian goalkeeper at his near post. It hit the inside of the post and went in. He couldn't believe that he got beaten from such a distance and from such a weak shot. The Tanzanian players looked shell-shocked. I was shell-shocked. I was like, how did Kenya come from behind to win this game 3-2? They were amazing. They were simply amazing. Victor Wanyama was also very, very good for Kenya in this game. Must give him a shout out. The game ended 3-2 in favor of Kenya, and I'm hoping that we have a few more games like this at the tournament. As for stats in the game, Kenya had 15 shots at goal with 9 on target, 54% of the possession, 326 passes with a 74% pass accuracy, 25 fouls, picking up 3 yellows. For Tanzania, they had 11 shots at goal, 5 on target, 46% of the possession, 285 passes with a 70% pass accuracy, 23 fouls, and 2 yellows. It was a very, very feisty, fiery affair. 40 plus fouls, 5 plus yellow cards, 5 goals. We need more games like this, man. It was awesome. It was awesome. And that's why I try to tune into every single game, because at the African Cup of Nations, you never know what to expect. As I said earlier, Kenya will face Senegal on Monday the 1st of July, while for Tanzania, they will take on Algeria on that same day in a must-win situation. At the end of the round 2 fixtures, the Group C standings look like this. Algeria at the top with 6 points, already qualified for the round of 16. Senegal second, 3 points. Kenya third, 3 points, and at the bottom, Tanzania without a point. I don't think they deserve to be at the bottom without a point, but that's the way football is. So guys, that's my thoughts on those 3 fixtures, 1 from Group B and 2 from Group C. Thank you very much for watching this video. I really appreciate you guys following my African Cup of Nations journey. If you're new, make sure you hit the subscribe button, leave the video a big fat thumbs up, and in the comment section down below, let me know who you think will go through from Group C. Would it be Senegal, or will it be Kenya or Tanzania? Could they just scrape through? I want to know your thoughts down below. So guys, I'm your boy Dominic Rich, and until my next video, I like to say peace out, Rich Squad.